Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Tony just married me today, because Jo is not my wife, but Jo, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do it for you, Tony. I'm going to take this off here because I need to have a bit of freedom. That's better. Hello, everybody. How you doing? You must be thinking, how could this man be a retired police officer and a retired head teacher? You're asking that question, aren't you? Well, I first walked the streets of London as a police officer in 1979. In 79, the hardest time to police in London. I retired from policing in 2019, and I retired from education in 2018. So I was doing 2 jobs at the same time. And the reason why I did that is when I joined the police the first time, it was my first job, I was just 18. I'm 62 now. And when I first joined the police service, I joined the service because I believed change was necessary, change was warranted, change had to happen. If you think things are bad now, in the 1980s, black people and police, there was no relationship. You was black, you were stopped. You was black, you were arrested on suspicion of sus. You was black, you was incarcerated unlawfully. And there's people who've just been released after 25 years of false allegations of different acts, and they've been imprisoned. And that's changing. I left the service because it was time for me to go, for a number of different reasons. It's getting harder to police London. I did do a lot of change while I was policing. I educated officers around diversity, inclusion and equality. I wrote programs for policing. I trained senior officers. I rose to the rank of Assistant Chief Officer, which is quite a high rank to have in the service. I was the only black Assistant Chief Officer in the Met, and I was the only black Assistant Chief Officer in the country. They had assistant commissioners, that kind of stuff, but my role was a very different role. I started teaching in 79 also, but I was a peripatetic music teacher because I'm born in here in Bradford. I grew up with Trinidadians, and when you grow up with Trinidadians, my parents are from Dominica, but when you grow with Trinidadians, you must play pan. So I used to play pan. I was a pan man, and I ended up going to schools teaching young children how to play pan. If you don't know what pan is, I'll tell you. It's a steel drum. It's a steel pan. Old drum, nicely tuned. And I was playing some of the best calypso you could ever hear. Kitchener, Sparrow, you name it, I could play it. I always fancied myself a bit of a singer like Sparrow. I tried once and never did it after that. Then I decided, working in education, working across different schools in London, I saw poor leadership. And I say poor, I saw people running schools, they should never run schools. I saw schools close from 350 pupils to 2 because the head teacher was poor. So I decided 10 years after teaching pan, I'm going to go to university and become a head teacher. Everyone laughed at me and said to me, you don't go to university to become a head teacher, you go to university to become a teacher. And if you're lucky, you become a head. I went to university in 1989. I finished my 4-year degree in 1993. I appointed to the headship in 2000, 7 years after leaving university. The quickest anybody has ever been a head teacher. And because that's my determination, nothing more than that. I was determined to lead the school where children felt valued and safe. My first headship was in a school in Southwark, South East London. No, Lewisham, that's first South East London school. Every single month I received hate mail, of racist hate mail. Every month, without fail, for 4 years. What did I do? I just carried on doing a better job, and a better job. And I'll just rub it in the racist face, and I did a better job. Ofsted came to our school, praised our school for quality of leadership and the things that the school achieved for young children in the borough. My school was about half a mile from where Stephen Lawrence was killed. And on my estate, the school was on, I could look out my office window, and there's a Union Jack, and the BNP leader was living in that house, and he should overlook the school. And I used to smile every time I saw him. In the end, it took 4 years. I had a Red Nose event, you know, Lenny Henry Red Nose Day, and I put out a challenge for anybody to allow me to cut their hair for charity. I called Lenny Henry's agent. He said to me, come and get one of my suits. So I took one of his suits, a nice Oswald Boateng red suit that he wears on the programme. In those days, he was as big as me, now he's slim. and I was wearing his suit. The man that allowed me to cut his hair was the same racist man that made noise the first day I turned up in that school. And he cut his hair and he said to me, "I'm sorry, my kids love you, and my attitude at the time when you first came was one of what many people have. I really appreciate what you did for my children." And that was the first time I had a thank you as a black man in Lewisham. Now, Lewisham, as a London borough, probably 45% are black, yet still, I was one of 2 black head teachers in the whole of Lewisham. So even though there's diversity in schools, there's not diversity in leadership. So I decided to be an Ofsted inspector. I wasn't going to tell you a story, Tony. I was going to totally do something else, but I thought I'd better start and finish. I trained as an Ofsted inspector, and my job was then to Ofsted schools. I strived to be the best at what I did, not just as a head teacher, but as an educationalist. And that was my drive and my vision. Anyway, I cut a long story short, I had 6 headships, 1 in Birmingham, 2 in London, Lewisham, an executive headship in Southwark, secondary and primary school, and then my final headship I had in a place called Thurrock, Essex. And that was my most exciting time, because I went into a school where there wasn't many black children. And by the time we left, there was a lot more black children. And there's only 1 black member of staff. By the time we left, there was more black members of staff. There was no female leaders. By the time we left, there was more female leaders. I'm all about diversity. So I wanted to make sure that the schools represented the children that came in there. So I created a school that was built on diversity. In 2018, I decided enough is enough, and I stopped doing what I did around education. But I still work with head teachers now to improve their schools. They call me in, spend 4 days with them, and I tell them what they need to start looking at and what to do better to make their schools better. And I still love doing that. I launched a couple of companies, because that's what I do. I wake up with a dream, I'll make it a reality. It's hard, but it's a reality. I've come here with 2 today, a foundation that I work with, and that's the foundation there. That young man, his name is Shaquan Sammy Plummer. In 2015, Shaquan was stabbed in the chest and killed. His mum, Jessica, she can't be here today, she has set up a foundation in his name, and we are trying to change the mindsets of young people so they don't carry knives. Because children are killing children on the streets of this country. Not just London, it's happening all over. So the foundation's been set up to do that. The book down the bottom there, Bleed Control Education, that's my publication. It's a book for young people, teach them how to not use knives or choose knives. And the reason why there's a body picture there, because that's, when we speak to young people, both as a police officer and as a teacher, and they've committed that offence, because it is an offence, they don't realise, actually, when you stab somebody in the bottom, they're likely to die. They don't realise that that's what the body looks like beneath their skin. So I created that 2 metre high pull-up, and there's another 2 pull-ups about the organs, and that works with the book over there, which teaches the young people how to make a different choice than carry a knife. It is long, it's hard, but it works. So all the things that they're trying to do, the Mayor of London's doing this, that and the other, it's making no difference. These different organisations, Bain Concealer Trust, you name them, it's making no difference. What is making a difference is education. We can never dismiss education. So, and there's another conversation about education that I'll have you with a different day. So that's my 2 causes. And there's another cause here today, a really special cause I'm going to introduce in a little while. But I just want to say one more thing. One of the things I started doing 5 years ago was building websites. And I build websites for people who want a website. And I build websites for people at near enough 0 cost. The time, if you get a website built by somebody else, they'll charge you £1,000 and they'll give you all this kind of rigmarole and what you need to do that and the other, and it's not necessary. So what I've done today, as a thank you to Tony, really, because what Tony doesn't tell you is, this is 6 years Tony's been doing this, and you come here, Tony will give out awards to people, he recognised people in the community. Our young man, Mr. Crawford over there, was recognised, just as I was, and many more people have been recognised in Bradford, and anyone that's from Bradford will be recognised for their great work. Nobody, Tony asks nothing for anybody. He just sets this up and he invites you, and you'll come, and then you talk and you network and meet lots of people. Today I've done something different, and this is for Tony, because I really believe in this initiative, and for the Shaquan Sami Plummer Foundation. I'm giving away a website today. What does that mean? I'm giving away a whole website. Not just I'll build it for you, but I'll also host it for you. So if you've got somebody who wants a small business and want a website, I will build a website for you and I will host it for you for 12 months. So in other words, it will be completely free, the website. After 12 months, you can choose. After the website, you can choose to keep it on if you want to, or you don't have to. I have built 120 websites for different people, big business and small, and they're still going strong. All I ask of you is to buy one raffle ticket for £1. And that raffle ticket, the funds of that raffle ticket goes half to the organisation that Tony's building to make this happen, and the other half to that charity over there. So I walk away with nothing, but somebody in this room will walk away with a fully blown website, whatever size you want. I've set myself up really, because you say to me, I want a website like Amazon, I'm going to have to build it for you. But that's what I've said. I'll build your website completely free of charge. So there's raffle tickets over there somewhere. Grab a raffle ticket, only £1. Every penny that is raised here today will go to AFRICA4U and to the Shaquan Sami Plummer Foundation, a foundation designed to change the mindsets of young people. How's that sound? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.